you told me a book, and that book sounds really awesome, by the way. I sent you a paper, and it's called, I think, just let me make sure I get it right.
What you said, no
Israel,
private?
Israel and Anti-Semitism, a Critical View.
Yeah.
Um, and so this is actually part of a series of papers that were published in this journal, and I think it
No.
was a one-off. Um, and it's from 1985, and where they talk about this, right? And one of the things that they say is Zionism is probably one of the most anti-Semitic things
That's how they
in Jewish
strive.
culture.
That's how they strive. What they do is they've been doing this since the 1930s. They want to create anti-Semitism in Europe or America to scare the Jews to migrate to Israel. Because without anti-Semitism, they can't have people move. A
Well,
matter of
not just
fact,
that, right? Like the way they gatekeep their own and say,
yeah,
unless you support the state of Israel, you're not a real Jew,
yeah, they do that. A matter of fact, in the Arab Jews,
especially in Israel. Like
yeah,
not so much in Western media, not so much in the Western eye, because they know that we will not like that.
yeah,
But in Israel, that's almost a norm.
this is it. One time I read a statement from a leader of a Zionist movement in the 1950s, in the 1940s, when they tell him, "Why aren't you helping the ghetto, the Jewish ghettos in Poland?" I think it was. He said to me, "A Jewish cow in Jerusalem is worth more than 10 Jews in Poland." These motherfuckers are evil. The evil son of a bitch. They don't care. I mean, it's a racist movement. It's based on the
Also,
idea.
I would be careful, by the way, about perpetuating that because
What is
you don't.
that?
Well, no, it's not. It's just the saying itself. Like you could have like an actual anti-Semitic person, like a Nazi, hear that and then like start spreading it, and then you
No,
just
but
don't want that to spread, right? Is all I'm thinking. But
no,
um,
but
I
it's in
hear
a
what you're
book.
saying.
I want
Like,
to get. I want you to write this. There's a guy named Elam Pape. He's an Israeli scholar,
okay,
and he wrote a book. What is it called? The ethnic cleansing of Palestine. He's on
PAP,
YouTube. Huh?
PA.
Elan, Ilan
Oh, okay.
Pappe. He's a scholar and he's a Jewish scholar. And when he studied, he went to Oxford to study. When he saw the truth, what they were doing, then he became pro-Palestinian. He says Israel doesn't have to exist. They need one
Oh yeah, I've
state
heard
for
of
them.
him.
Yeah,
I recognize him now.
he's on the YouTube. He's all over the place. There's another scholar, same thing. The whole idea is Zionism is based on neo-colonialism. The idea is we need to replace the native population by any way, by any means necessary, and we have to use violence if they don't leave. They have to leave. It's not like we're gonna live with them and they're gonna live with us, and we create this one state. Even if we dominate the state, they don't want them there at all. This is scary stuff. This is Nazi behavior. You understand?
Yeah, well, it's
Yeah,
incredibly nationalistic,
yeah,
I
especially.
love it.
yeah,
But when it
And
comes
we'll
to the
see here,
optics,
Brianna
right?
speaks, walks, talks,
yeah.
thinks like a nationalist.
Not only that, Judaism doesn't have nationalism. You know that, right? Judaism is not even an ethnicity. Jews, when you speak to rabbis, they say we're not an ethnic. We are a religious group. Wherever we are, we belong to that. Like if you're in America, we're American Jews. We are American. If we're in Yemen, my country, we're Yemeni Jews. We don't have a nationality, and the only time we're gonna have it is when the Messiah comes and we go to Israel. Right now, we don't have nothing. Wherever we live, we're loyal to that state, wherever we are, and we are those people we live with. You understand what I'm saying over here?
And it's incredible how deadly those prophecies are, right? Like someday he's coming back and it's going to be in Jerusalem. So we need to be in
Yeah.
Jerusalem.
No, the Zionists, the Christian Zionists, are packing up the Jews into
Yep.
Israel in the hope of bringing the second rapture, so the Jews will be killed if they don't accept Jesus. And the Jews are using the Jew and the Zionists are using the crazy Zionists to get the money and maintain the state. It is like a marriage of inconvenience. Or like remember when the old Bugs
Yeah,
Bunny
the
and
lesser of two evils
yeah, when
for
they get
the
stuck on an
American
island.
Christians.
When
Yeah.
they get stuck in an island, everybody's seen the other one as food. You understand? That's
Yeah.
what it is. Yeah, it's the same thing. It is unbelievable. It is dangerously, and I think Zionism thrives to create anti-Semitism in other countries to drive Jews to Israel. They did that in France. Let me give you an example before we get back. In Arabia, in the 1950s, they used violence. The Mossad used to come to Baghdad, Iraq, the capital. 40% was Jews, and they were the elites, like the educators, the musicians. They used to put bombs in the synagogues, in the recreational clubs, or whatever, the soccer places, to scare them to go to Israel, and it worked.
Well, even just more recent, like when you look at the campus protests and some of
Yeah,
the people that they would send there to act like anti-Semites, like where are they getting those scripts? Who's telling them to say that, right? Like it's
yeah.
it's the the call is coming from inside of the house.
Yeah, the whole idea is that it's bullshit. I feel sorry what they did to the students. I think the students were peaceful. They meant well, and they were very careful what to say, what not to say. They were organized, but everybody was, they picked their own enemy. Zionists are very strong in the United States. Have you seen APAC? There's an app called Track APAC, or on Twitter it's called Track APAC. And if you see, it is disgusting that out of 100 senators, 97 receive money from APAC.
Yep.
Every single House member receives money from the APAC except the Squad and some of those leftist or libertarian guys.
Bernie still does, I think, too. It's just, it saddens me so much.
But Bernie, you know, we voted. You know, me and my kids, we all went to vote for him when he was in New York the first time in 2016. I
Makes sense.
never saw energy in my kids. You know, I have some voting age. You know, I'm an old guy. What happened is that I said, "Where you going?" He said, "I gotta go vote." I said, "Who? Bernie Sanders." I said, "What the hell you know about Bernie Sanders?" He's an old guy from Vermont. He said, "No, where is the revolution?" I said, "All right, go." The whole idea is that when the October 7 happened and they started killing the pilot, it took him a long time to come around and condemn what's going on until it was disgusting that he had to come around and
Yeah.
condemn. You understand?
And just
Yeah,
to, because we're gonna have to get back on this, just to bring
yeah.
us back to more what she's talking about. Like, notice how we're not trying to say like, oh, we need to cancel Bernie because he did that, right? We just
No,
said
no, 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 no.
it
I love
causes
Bernie.
conflict in us and it saddens us, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Brianna's whole thing is she is taking something that she'll also admit,
I guess so.
especially with her debate with Queeman, that's when it
Okay,
comes.
Hammer.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. My son came in, my young kid. Well, I was going to say, you're absolutely right, bro. Bernie
Oh,
Sanders, we're not here to condemn or anything, but we disagree with him on certain thing. But he's what we have right now. So we're going to lash to him until we got something better. You understand?
you yeah, and you're gonna see like Brianna say in her debate with Queeman, if we end up getting to that, that she has like a blurred past where she kind of acted a bit nuts. Again, according her kind of wording for this, where she basically probably acted like a Puritan, if we're being honest, because most political people who come in from a far angle
Yeah,
tend to want to see people with like minds surround them. That's just kind of
yeah,
normal.
yeah,
Um, and but and so you would think that she would come to like empathize with that, right? Like, oh, I've been there. I like
yeah,
I want to help these people instead of just cast them into the shadows. But no, she sees an opportunity to weaponize that to get more quote unquote normies on her side, and then she can build a career off of that. She
yeah,
This is why the left stands against capitalism of all things, by the way.
yeah, yeah.
Like
Well, yeah,
not because of Brianna Wu, but because people like Brianna Wu can absolutely dominate without having any integrity whatsoever.
right, right. I just want to add something. When I was on Wick with her, you know what Wick did? He lowered my microphone on purpose. I didn't know that. So when I went to listen to myself the next day, I couldn't even hear myself that good. She's so evil, this individual. Listen.
We've got to start having more serious conversations about how people perceive us. People perceive progressives as assholes. That's
No,
just
no,
the
you're the
truth.
only
A
asshole.
decade ago during Gamergate, people thought the white male gamers were the assholes. I've got news for you. Today, it's trans Twitter, it's socialist Twitter, it's terrorist sympathizer Twitter. It's us. We're the ones doxing people. We're the ones sending death threats. We're canceling everyone in sight. And at the end,
She's canceling us. She told you not to speak to me. She told Wick not to speak to a food shop. She's the one who's doing everything she's
Yeah.
saying. She's projecting her behavior. You
She
understand?
wants to cancel literally anyone who's more far left than her. And it's
Yeah.
so freaking clear the
A
more
lot to
she
clear.
talks about the far left that she sees no value in anybody who thinks more hardcore on subjects that she claims to be passionate about. But I'm telling you, like she only did this because she thought it would make her popular. She jumped
Yeah,
on a bandwagon in
yeah,
the Trump era, in the trans rights era,
yeah.
and You know, I'm not like,
She,
by the way, I'm going to say this much. I'm never going to question her transness based on this because she's been
yeah,
trans for a very long time.
yeah, yeah,
And I
yeah.
think, and I think that's a genuine part of herself. I don't see anything about her that would make me question that. And I don't, and the only thing is I think she tends to throw trans people under the bus because
Yeah,
she
that's what I was gonna
perceives
say. Yeah, go ahead.
competition. She's afraid of competition, and that's simply it.
Not only that, she knows there's a lot of hate toward the transgender community. Remember what she said? Trans Twitter. She'll throw anybody under the bus because she knows there's hatred toward them. So she's gonna say, "I'm not like them." You understand? I am different. Those.
And what she's not saying is, in reality, is that when she was pro-trans,
Yeah,
like the louder group was
yeah,
the pro-trans side because
yeah, yeah,
it was kind of novel at the time. Most people had just encountered it, and they were proud to be like, "Yes, I can accept this." Even cisgender people. Now that support has really died out, and there's not nearly as many people fighting for it, unfortunately.
yeah,
She's taken that bit of that moment of silence that comes after the
yeah,
banter, after everyone's all riled up and
yeah,
ready to go, uh,
yeah.
and she's turned that into, well, no, now everyone hates them, right?
Right, right.